Hi everybody, Natalie Willis here, founder of Baby Sleep Trainer. I help families get babies to sleep through the night and take healthy naps through my online courses and one-on-ones and my book, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about welcoming baby number 2. People have all sorts of feelings about bringing a second baby into the home, especially as it pertains to their older child's sleep and the new baby's sleep and a bunch of other emotional things that come along with it. So let's dive right in. I think one of the first things that comes up for a lot of families when they are welcoming their second baby is worrying about how they're going to feel about dividing their love for this one baby that they already have and then bringing another one in, or even really just being worried that the first baby is going to feel this stress or pressure around this new sibling or jealousy or all of these things. And remember that it's natural for our brains to gravitate towards the worst case scenario. There is this meme that I absolutely love, and it's a large circle and it says things I worry about. And then there's a smaller circle within that circle and it says things that could actually happen. And then there's this tiny little dot. And then the third one says things that actually happen, right? Stress that much about what's going to happen with the second child because you just really don't know. It's always better to wait and see and then react instead of being too worried ahead of time. So if you encounter things, deal with them then, but maybe it won't be as bad, right, as you think that it's going to be, and you can address any issues that come up. I think another concern that families have is whether they will be capable of loving this second child as much as they love their first child. When I was pregnant with my second child, it was a boy. My first child is a girl. And I remember my mother being like, well, I just don't know about boys. I just don't know. And I think what she was expressing is she really just wasn't sure. She had raised daughters, and then I had a daughter, and so she was familiar with girls, and this whole concept of baby boys was a little unfamiliar to her. And she fell in love with my son. Of course she did, because that is what happens. And I would say even in my own case, I had an easier time bonding with my second child more quickly than I did with my first child, because as I've talked about in other videos, I suffered a lot of postpartum anxiety and just a lot of anxiety. And I think that interfered with my ability to bond right away. It's okay, it happens. It happened eventually for me. But with my second baby, man, like I just knew what was happening and what was going on, and that bond was able to form instantly. So you really should not worry that you won't be capable of loving this second baby as much as you love your first. Also keep in mind, if you are giving birth to this baby yourself, there are all sorts of chemicals that are going on in your brain that are helping you bond with this baby. So it's very, very unlikely that you will even struggle to bond. And I can tell you, you're gonna love this baby as much as you love your first child. And one thing I have learned working with lots of families, and even within my own family and my friends, when you give more love, it just all exponentially grows. So you're going to be okay, and welcoming a second baby into your family is just going to grow the love that you have for everyone in your family. Another major concern is that your older child is going to have regressions either in their sleep or in their potty training or anything like that. This is super, super important. When you bring your second baby home, a lot of parents think that they need to give their older child some slack. Right? If they start to behave improperly or they have any kind of discipline related issues. As much as this is going to be a challenge, I implore you to be committed to maintaining any discipline or boundaries that you have before the baby comes. Maintain those boundaries really strictly when the baby comes. When there is a lot of chaos in your home and you let those boundaries go for what's acceptable behavior for your older child, that is going to make the problem worse. It is not going to make the problem better. So if you have a household in which you're pretty strict around sleep, it is not a good idea to allow your older child to have any leniency around their sleep. Even if they're doing a little bit of protesting, the more stability that you keep for that older child in their routine, the better off they are going to be. So you allowing inconsistency and chaos into your older child's life because you don't want to hold them as accountable because you feel that they're kind of going through a hard time, that's projecting a lot of adult feelings onto how this older child is feeling. You want to maintain a lot of consistency. The more consistency you maintain, the less likely you're going to experience any big regressions. Another thing to keep in mind is do not make any changes in your child's sleep routine, especially as it pertains to where they sleep. So just because you're having a new baby does not mean that your older child needs to be potty trained or needs to give up their crib and transition to a bed. If they are happy with what they're doing, let them keep doing it, and don't take their crib away to give it to their sibling. Just get the baby another crib, put them in a pack and play. They can probably sleep safely in a bassinet for months anyway. You don't need to make the transition that usually almost always makes things worse. Another really common issue comes up is this desire for babies or for children to share a room. And this is something I want to go into in a little bit of detail right now because it is its own major topic. I find that there's two things that typically come up a lot with room sharing for siblings. One, a lot of parents have this sort of nostalgic, sort of rose-colored view around room sharing. Either they did it as a kid or they feel like it's better somehow for children to share rooms. If your children do not need to share rooms, please don't make them share rooms, especially as it pertains to their sleep. And I would say avoiding room sharing until children are done napping is the ideal. Now, everybody is different. Every family is different. There are different temperaments and personalities. And please remember, if what I am saying does not work with you, or you're like, well, in my family or my kid or whatever, great. If this is different for your family and what you want to do works, fabulous. But what I'm saying is, generally speaking, for the general public, when you pair children together, especially if both kids are not over the age of 4, you introduce a much higher likelihood of sleep disruptions for one or both children, which is not anything that you really want to happen. Sometimes it can be better to keep your baby in the room with you. Let's say you only have 2 bedrooms. Allow your older child to maintain their own bedroom and keep the baby in the room with you. There's an amazing product called Slumber Pods that I absolutely love and love to promote for no other reason other than that it is an incredible product that's just awesome. It makes people's lives so much easier. You can keep baby in your room in a slumber pod indefinitely, really until as long as they can keep sleeping in a pack and play. So a year, year and a half, maybe even longer for lots of kids, or separating them into their own rooms. Now, if you have 3 children, a lot of people will think to pair the baby with the middle child and allow the older child to maintain their own bedroom. Actually, it's almost always better to pair the baby and the older child together. The older child typically is not going to be napping anymore and is going to be a more stable sleeper and will have experience less disruption by the younger baby coming into the room. If you have a toddler who's maybe 2.5, 3 years old, and you bring a baby in there, you are really asking for trouble. So always pair the oldest and the youngest together if you can. And finally, just a quick tip of what to do if you are sleep training your younger baby and you already have an older child that sleeps well. Maybe you didn't even sleep train your older child, whatever it is, their sleep is good. Maybe, forget it, maybe you're not even sleep training. Maybe you're just worried that your older child is going to be disrupted by the younger child's cries. Newborns cry all the time, right? For all sorts of reasons, all night long. You should already be using, hopefully, white noise within your toddler's room. It's a great idea to add an additional white noise machine or box fan or something of that nature outside of the room with the door closed. These 2 white noise machine situations that you have going on simultaneously really can do a lot to keep your older child sleeping. I'm also here to tell you that even surprisingly to me, it is very rare for younger babies to wake up their older siblings. So I'm probably not even something that's going to be an issue, but if you are worried about it, just add that white noise machine outside of your older child's door. If you like this video, of course, be sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you get notifications when I put out new videos, and I can't wait to see you next time.